In this video, we sat down with adventure creator Chad Lubinski, who learned how to make money on Instagram through something called user-generated content, or as others call it, UGC. Chad's going to share how he works with brands and creates videos for their pages without needing a huge crowd of followers on his own Instagram. So whether you're brand new to this and looking to get more from your Instagram efforts, or you want more advice on how to grow as an Instagram UGC creator, you're in the right place.
My first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to be like an influencer, essentially, right? I figured that was the only way that you could make money on social media was to have a following big enough to get brand partnerships and affiliate deals, ad revenue from YouTube and all that type of stuff. And so that's where I first started with this whole idea of like trying to create videos and trying to make money. The problem with that is that, and as many people know, it can be tough to grow a following. Even if you do grow a following, it's hard to hit everybody in that following if you're promoting a product or an affiliate deal or something like that. And so I was like really struggling with that. And what had happened actually was I had went on this huge Colorado trail trip. It was 3 weeks through Colorado, and we had been working from home during that time. That was back in 2021. And so I had all this extra time before the CT and everything to do all my content, try to grow my audience. As soon as I got back from the Colorado Trail, and after 18 months of working remotely, we got called back into office. And I really only had a few thousand followers at that time. And I thought, dude, I just spent 18 months trying to grow this following, and I don't really have much to show for it. It was at that point, I was a little dejected, essentially. However, a brand reached out to me. It was called Element Electrolytes. They're awesome. And they just sent me some free product. They said, hey, try this. And so essentially what I did was I tried it, loved it, and I just uploaded a quick story on my Instagram. And I tagged them in it. And I did this a couple more times over the couple weeks. And that really was what changed my trajectory, because they came back to me and they said, hey, we love your videos. We want you to create 8 more just like this every month for us for $1,500. And I thought, are you serious? I didn't have a huge following at that time. They weren't asking me to post on my account. They wanted me to post on their account. So it didn't matter how many followers I had. They just wanted original content for me to post on their account to their followers. And that was kind of the first light bulb moment for me that, oh, this is totally different than being an influencer. You don't need an audience. You make these really, really quick videos, and then you send them directly to the brand. Sometimes your face doesn't even need to be in them. And so that was my first foray into UGC. And so from there, I was like, oh my God, I need to reach out to all these brands. I need to get on this bandwagon. And that's just kind of what started my trajectory into really prioritizing a lot of UGC, because I knew that was probably the way that I was going to get out of the current job that I was in criminal justice. Kind of a long story there, but that was kind of the background on how I discovered it, I guess, for myself. I consider myself an outdoor creator, whether that is travel, whether that is snowboarding. It's very seasonal type stuff. It can be also product focused. Everything is around the outdoors, because that's what I love to do. And so once you kind of start building up your portfolio, which is what we'll talk about a little bit later, like brands will see that. They'll see your content from other brands posting you, and they'll reach out to you directly and wanting you to promote their outdoor product or something like that. As an outdoor creator, you just have a lot of these eclectic hobbies. Whether it's canoe, fishing, you have all these different hobbies, which is great, because then that opens you up to being able to promote products for brands in all these different industries. You never really hit a dead end with that. The only real dead end that you ever hit is seasonal. And so as long as you can have hobbies and activities that you do seasonally, you're going to be good, because you can promote snowboarding or snow gear in the winter, then also promote travel and summer stuff as well. So it's kind of all over the board. Yes, so it's way easier to create content in the summer because number one, it's just nicer weather. As an outdoor creator, you do have obstacles that you have to overcome relative to someone that is a skincare creator, for example. They're mostly shooting in their house. Doesn't really matter what the weather is outside. They can create artificial lighting. As an outdoor creator, like the weather kind of dictates your filming. For me, it's always been a lot easier spring, summer, fall than it has been in the winter. Although winter, again, can be easier. It's just harder to get out on adventures sometimes. Occasionally, occasionally I'll see my revenue kind of dip in the winter a little bit. But again, as long as you have some sort of hobby that you do in the winter, that's going to help a lot more. I've been making essentially from UGC anywhere from 6 to 10 grand a month. Best months are 10 grand. And I would say average is probably around 6 right now. This is probably something we'll get into a little bit later, but how you really do that is you don't want to do one-off deals all the time. They're great to build a relationship. I mean, that is kind of the first step, but you really want to get on what's called retainer with these brands so that you don't have to go there and pitch every single month. It's, you're going to make 8 videos like I was talking about with Element, and you're going to be getting that $1,500 every single month. And so that kind of opens up a lot more leeway for you and makes you feel a lot better that you actually have something coming in every single month. Retainer is kind of what I consider the gold standard in the UGC world. UGC is simply user-generated content. Typically, this is how it works. A brand will ship you a free product. You then create a video with said product, or you already have the product. Then you just simply drop that in a Google Drive folder, WeTransfer, or anything like that. And then they download that, post it on their socials, websites, blogs, wherever, and then they'll pay you. I kind of think of it as it's almost like a testimonial for their product. You know, if you're gonna buy an expensive piece of gear, a new camera, a new computer, or something like that, the first thing that you do is typically will go on Reddit, YouTube, Google, and you're going to be looking for reviews. And so that's really what UGC is. Other people are providing credibility for their product. It boosts the credibility for when they post that as an ad or whatever it is that they're going to use it for. Absolutely. And that is the power of UGC. And that's what I really like to drive home to people is that you don't even need a social account for it if you don't want to. And I've known people like that. You know, maybe they don't like promoting stuff on their page or they don't necessarily like showing themselves on their page. UGC is totally different. You can make money faster and it's much more lucrative at the starting points of being an influencer than being an influencer. Anybody can do it. 0 followers is required. The only thing you need to do to be a good UGC creator is just simply know how to make good videos and then just developing a relationship with those brands by over delivering so that you impress them to then get on that gold standard, which we talked about earlier, which is to get on retainer. We break this down into 4 phases. Phase 1 is all about building your portfolio. You have to have the credibility in order to partner with more brands. There's a couple steps in this first phase. And so the first step is you need to identify likely candidates that would be good for UGC. And especially as a UGC creator, you want to identify brands that are going to be more likely to say yes to your proposals. What I typically say in the outdoor world is go on Instagram, find a brand that has less than 15,000 followers, and those are going to be a great starting point for your first pitches. Another thing with that is when you find a brand like that, you can hit a little drop down arrow on there and it's going to say suggested accounts. All those are going to be related to that first one. It's going to give you a plethora of all these options to choose from. We call it the Dream 15. We kind of model it off of Russell Brunson's Dream 100. But we have people start with 15 brands that they want to reach out to. Now, the next step in that is to offer them what we call the no-brainer offer. First of all, you're going to kind of engage with their account for 2-3 weeks. That means follow them, obviously, like their stuff, put comments on there. You want to develop that rapport, respond to their stories. That opens up a dialogue in the DMs. So now at the end of 3 weeks, when you go in there and you're going to give them this pitch that I'm going to talk about in a second, there's a little history there. So you're not just like this random person. So the no-brainer offer just really consists of DMing this brand or emailing them. You are going to offer to make them a free UGC video. The only thing you want in return is a case study of how that performed if they ran it as an ad or on their organic socials. I mean, most brands would say yes to this. Most of them are minimum going to pay $150 for that. Minimum $150 to $350. So they're getting a free video out of this that they can do whatever it is that they want. And all they have to do is provide you with the case study of how it performs. And so this does a couple things for you. Now you can say, hey, I worked with XYZ brand on my portfolio. So now you have that credibility. Then the next thing you have is an actual case study of how that performs on your portfolio. So it's giving you even more credibility. So not only have you worked with all these brands, but now here's like an actual case study of how my content performed. So that's phase 1. So get as many of those as you can. And typically this is going to be in exchange for a free product. So you will, I guess, be getting also a free product from that too in that first phase. Now, phase 2 is when you start moving from free product into paid product. And that's always something people kind of struggle with because they struggle with like asking for money or like trying to say how much value they're actually providing. But that's the second phase, to try and finally get a paid sponsorship with that. I would say average for UGC videos is $150 a video, can go up to about $350 for someone that's really advanced. You're going to be working on developing that relationship in phase one with these brands, because that's also what you're doing with this no-brainer offer. And then hopefully turning that into a paid deal in phase two. Now in phase three, again, this is the gold standard. This is where we get on retainer with these brands. So in phase 1 and 2, when you're working with that same brand, or you're working with multiple brands, you're going to be over delivering to them. Well, if they're asking for one UGC video, you're going to provide them with one UGC video, but you're also going to provide them with a couple photos as well that they can use in their socials. And so once you now get into a retainer deal with these brands, that can look like just like I did with Element, 8 videos for $1,500. I always tell my students, depending on your expenses, 2 to 3 retainer deals is all you need to quit your job. And you're free. You're freaking free to, if you want to buy a van, you want to go travel around, you can work remote. Traveling around is great because now you're getting different scenes for your content and things like that. And so 2 to 3 retainer deals is what you need to shoot for. The fourth phase that we kind of talk about a little bit, and this is only if you want to do this, that is also to build your brand on the back end. If you want to be an influencer and you want to get, some diversification in your income, you always want to be on the back end building your social following. For people that want to do that, focus the first year, 80% UGC, 20% your own brand. And then as you go throughout the years, maybe the ratios change a little bit, because as an influencer, you're getting the affiliate deals, you're getting brand sponsorships, you're getting ad revenue. And so that can be like a really lucrative thing, especially if you start to come out with your own products and things like that. Phase 4 is kind of optional. If people don't want to do that, they don't have to, but I always encourage people to do that. Being an influencer is more of a long-term play. UGC is really, really good short-term. You can also make it long-term as well, but it's really good for that short-term cash flow. Well, the first tip, you can't just pitch 3 brands. And that's kind of like a no-brainer thing. You have to have an expectation that the more brands you pitch, the higher your chances of actually getting a partnership. Every no is closer to a yes. You have to get as many eyeballs on it as you can. Make sure that your expectations meet reality. This is why I think a lot of people that try to be an influencer will burn out, is because their expectation is that they're going to go viral with their 3rd ever post. That's just simply not true. And plus, you probably don't want to do that because you don't have a library of stuff for other people to look at. Have the expectation that I'm going to pitch brands for a year before I even think about even getting paid. And now that's very unrealistic. Like, you're definitely going to get paid before a year. If that's your anchor, like when you negotiate with people, and this is a tactic we talk about in our academy, but like you want to anchor them with like a price that is like really high or like really low or whatever, right? But it price anchors them, right? You want to do the same thing with your expectations. Anchor your expectations, something that's like super unrealistic to the point of not getting paid for a year. And so when you do get paid, that's like a huge, huge win. And it's going to keep your motivation levels higher. The second tip would be, you can also find a lot of cool UGC deals on LinkedIn. You can go to like a brand on there and you can search, I forget like the keyword that it would be, but like creative partnerships or something like that. You can connect with that person there on LinkedIn. And that's also another really good way to connect with somebody that is willing to give you an opportunity for UGC or to create videos. Now with that, you also want to make sure that your LinkedIn looks pretty good. One of the things that I do with that is on your banner on Canva, you can create like a banner there like, hey, UGC creator, this is how many views I've got, this is how many sales I've generated. And so that banner is kind of the first thing that they see when they click your profile. And I would argue that's way more important than your profile picture. I mean, my profile picture on LinkedIn, it's like I'm in the mountains, which is on brand for me. So make sure that banner is the first thing that they're going to see, and make sure that it's optimized for UGC. So essentially, it's a UGC masterclass. So we take you through the first 3 phases that we talked about. So the no-brainer offer, the paid partnerships, and then getting on retainer. And so we teach people how to do that. But not only that, like I said before, you have to be able to create really good UGC videos for anybody to, first of all, take you seriously. And second, to make it look good on your portfolio. And 3, for people to actually put you back on retainer because you have really valuable content. We have modules about how to create really good UGC videos, what I'm looking for shot angles, voiceovers, how to edit it. But it's stuff that you want to make sure that you're really hitting the nuances there. If you want to take yourself from like a basic creator to someone that would be eligible to get on a retainer. That's kind of the first part of our course right there. And then the second part is teaching people how to, again, if they want to grow on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and podcasts, we're now putting in, we teach people that. We refer to that as our branding blueprint course. It's basically 2 courses in one. one, 100 videos will help you grow on all these social platforms that you want to. We have assignments with it as well. So it's not just like watching videos. We have a checklist of which videos to watch and assignments to do after it. So it holds people accountable so they're not just watching the video. Not only in addition to the courses, we have obviously the exclusive Facebook group so you can connect with other creators. Really good way to collab with other people, which is huge. As you know, networking is so huge. Like if anybody's ever been to Laura's networking events, that's where I met my business partner, Nick. That's so huge. So this is a way for you to do that, create those collabs. We also have a bunch of templates, so like a content calendar, hook database, all that type of stuff. But then the thing that we've now got into in 2024 is we've created an agency, the First Ascent Media. And so essentially what's happening is these brands will come to me and they'll send me emails about wanting me to do a video for them. I don't have the time to do it. And so what I'll do is I connect them with my students now. Our agency has now become the go-between, the connector between these brands and the students. That's a really good way for you guys to connect with a brand that probably they wouldn't have connected with anyways. So you get free product, you get paid, and then hopefully developing a relationship with that brand to maybe get on retainer later on down the line. The only people I give the brands are my students. And that's what we kind of say is like, that's our value prop. We've trained the students. They know what they're doing. They're all outdoor creators. Our students are also eligible for that. That's the academy. So we offer that right now for $500, but we're going to create the code Laura. We'll bring it down to $300 for that. So if you guys use that, use the link below, you'll get 40% off. You'll get both of those courses there. I'm on socials at Chattahoochee _ CHADAHOOCHE _. I'm probably most active on Instagram, but also YouTube is probably my favorite platform to create on though. I love that. So it's just Chad Lubinski there. Also have a podcast too called the Peanut Butter and Mountains Podcast.
A huge thank you to Chad for all of the strategies and tips that he shared with us today. I'm going to leave all of his links in the description below, so feel free to check those out, and I'll see you in the next video.